Hi guys, today we're really excited. We're going to be trying out and reviewing the Stiga E-Ride C500 ride-on lawnmower.
So the first thing we'd like to do is thank Charlie's Stores, who have very kindly loaned us this very exciting piece of machinery. It's a pretty serious piece of kit.
Definitely.
In fact, I think it's like, well, it is the most serious lawn ground care piece of machinery we've ever tried.
Yeah.
And why it's really exciting is that it's just been released in spring of 2021 in the UK.
Yeah.
And it is Stiga's battery operated ride-on mower. So it looks like it's got the usual features, headlights, you know, this is typically where your engine or your diesel engine would have been, but that's now where the battery is. And then you've got your steering wheel, controls, seat, and then you've got your collection bin here at the back. This does also come with a mulching kit, which is really important because a lot of ride-on mowers, that when we looked at them as a consumer, we were finding that you had to purchase this, for example, that had the feed into the bin, but then you had to purchase the extra add-on of the mulcher. This is already built into the price, so it basically comes bundled. So in this video, we're going to be trying out the E-Ride C500 here on the lawn. It's our front lawn. It has got a bit of a gradient and a bit of a hill going, a slope. So that's going to be really interesting to see what the traction's like and how it deals with a slope. I think that's really important because not everybody has flat lawns.
And there's quite a bit of obstacles here too. So we've got the flower bed in the middle, we've got the raised bed there, we've got a couple of trees. It's going to be really interesting to see how we can navigate around all of those. And
what the turning circle's like. And then we're also going to be showing you and testing it out in our on our field, which is more kind of like a paddock grass, rough cut grass. It's a bit more choppy and it's definitely got more of a gradient.
And it's bumpy.
We're going to be putting the suspension to the test. This could be like Top Gear for ride-on mowers.
On this side of the mower, you've got the ignition, so basically the key goes in there where you can actually stop and start the engine. You've also got a USB charging point, and you've got the emergency stop button. And just below that, you've got a little QR code, which you can basically set up an app for your phone, and that's something that we'll discuss later.
On this side, you've got some buttons and a little kind of dashboard. You've got your on button, your lights, your eco, so you can run it at a bit of a slower pace. That's really ideal if you've just got a flat surface and you just want to really just take it easy and conserve battery. You've even got a cruise control. We're not going to be cruise controlling because we've got too many gradients and too many obstacles. But it's certainly if you had like a really nice long paddock or a long stretch and you just wanted to kind of take it easy and sit back and relax, so there's that there. It's very nice. The blade, to push the blade down and get it active, and then also the reversing button as well. There are 7 levels to go up and down. There's a cup holder if you want to have a cappuccino, and then the back collection bin there as well, which you can pull up.
And underneath my seat is where the connector is for the charging cable to go in when the battery needs recharging.
And I've turned it and I've pressed the on button and this is on. It's a bit crazy, so I'll prove it.
It's amazing. It's so quiet.
It's incredible. That's all you can hear.
It's amazing.
More the crunch of the gravel than anything. So when you're on the gravel, obviously you want to stay on a 7. You don't want to drop the blade until you're actually on grass. So I'm going to stay on 7 at the moment, but we're going to work our way down from 1. So what is 7 as a height?
So according to the manual, 7 is 80 mil or 8 centimeters. 1 is 3 centimeters or 30 mil. But then the manual doesn't actually tell you what's in between. So we would probably start with a 2 or a 3, which should get us to around that 40 mil mark, which is where our lawn's at now.
So we're going to start on a 3?
Let's start with a 3.
Okay, let's start with a 3.
Let's be safer.
Yeah, and then we can go to a 2 and see what it's like.
Cool.
So this is from manicured lawn, so it's quite short.
Yeah.
Okay.
Gentlemen and ladies,
start your engines.
Start your engines.
Okay, we're dropping from a 7 to a 3. Okay, that's 3 engaged. And I'm going to start the blade. We're on grass. The other day we came out and cut the lawn.
Yeah.
We then subsequently came out again and did a mulching.
Session,
which was really interesting. There is no mulching chute on this. On some of the ride-on mowers you get a side chute, so it actually shoots out the side. This one, it just mulches directly underneath as it's cutting, which I actually personally preferred. I think it was better in the fact that you don't then have the extra protrusion coming out of the side that you have to worry about hitting or banging. I think it's just more compact, simpler, less to break. So I really like that. The general cut I was really impressed with. I thought it was very even, and it's given us a really nice, just a precision cut. It was really, really slick across the whole thing. It looked really nice and even.
I think the reason for that is because this machine is really heavy.
Yeah.
So it's pushing down, you're getting, a good position to the actual ground. So you're getting a really good action on the actual cutting blade. And it was probably too precise on the manicured lawn up at the top.
Yeah.
When we went over the bump, because it's so heavy and the actual cutting deck doesn't give way.
Yeah.
It took a chunk off the top and actually exposed the soil.
Yeah.
So again, that's something it's a familiarity thing, isn't it?
Yeah, it is, and then it's just knowing about your gradients and your undulations, where how you should be cutting. So just talking about some specifications with it, the cutting blade is I think 84
centimeters.
84 centimeters.
So it's quite a wide cutting area that you're actually getting through.
Yeah.
Which means that you can zip up and down areas quite quickly.
Yeah, which is great for bigger spaces.
So the standout feature for me with regards to this ride-on mower is undoubtedly the battery. The battery life is incredible.
Yeah.
It comes with a 48 volt, 40 amp battery. And we were able to cut the top lawn and our field.
Yeah.
We went through about half a battery there.
And how much space? How much space do we cover?
We're probably looking at just under 1,000 square meters.
Also for the battery, I think what was really important was the gradient that we were working on here.
Exactly.
Is quite steep. And the fact that we we could have, if we wanted to save a bit more battery, we could have turned the blades off and gone up and then just used the blades on the downward slope, but we didn't. We kept the blades on up and down, and we just kept on, you know, driving up and down. So we were really kind of trying to test the battery as much as we could, and it did not drain fast at all.
We pushed it to the limit. The actual manual says that this battery is enough to cover 4,000 square meters, but I would assume that that is almost like a football pitch, you know, kind of mowing up and down a nice long field without major inclines, and obviously a reasonably height grass. But, you know, from our perspective, you know, that battery life is more than enough to cover the kind of terrain that we were dealing with.
Yeah, I was really impressed with the battery.
Definitely.
I you know, you kept on asking me, you know, is it what battery are you on? What is the light showing you? It must have come down now, it must have drained. And I was driving at the time, and I said, no, it's only gone down 1 bar. It's only gone down. It was taking ages to drain, so it was really impressive just how long the battery was lasting.
It is impressive because the actual machine itself is 250 kilograms plus my weight or your weight plus the actual grass clippings that you've got at the back,
and that's 240 liters, that it's holding. And believe me, when we filled it a few times, and when we came to empty it, that 240 litres weighs a ton. I mean, it felt really heavy.
That's actually a great point, and it's something that for first time ride-on mower people like ourselves, the one thing you don't take into account is the actual grass clippings that you're gathering. So we were just merrily mowing, but then you've got to, you know, you pull over and you've got 240 litres worth of grass clippings
to dump somewhere,
and you need to put them somewhere.
Obviously you do want to think about storage. You know, where are you going to store this? You know, it is a vehicle. It is battery operated. You know, you could potentially leave it in an open garage, as long as it's kind of undercover, so it's not getting rained on or direct sunlight. You could do that. I don't think I would personally feel comfortable doing that, because I think that ultimately, you know, the freezing temperatures in the winter would affect the battery. I don't think it would do it any good. So I think if you're looking for, you know, a battery ride on, I do think that the best practice would be to actually park it into a garage and close the door and make sure that, you know, even in the winter, if you know that a garage gets really, really cold, maybe even consider putting a cover on it as well, because if it's going to be out of action for a few months, you don't want those batteries to really get into the minuses or get into really deep cold temperatures.
You really don't, because the batteries are going to be a significant portion of the cost of this actual mower. It's the one thing you really, really want to protect. So your point is excellent. Make sure that you are able to store it in a place where, you know, you can get it above 10 degrees centigrade and upwards during the winter.
The upside of that is that, you know, your maintenance, you know, so for example with a diesel or petrol machine, you're taking it in for an annual service, and there's an awful lot to service on a machine like that, and there's an awful lot to clean and check. With a battery operated machine, there's not an awful lot to do. Your annual service is going to be quick and easy, potentially at your own location. You might not even have to take it into, you know, for example, Charlie's stores. They might even be able to come out and do it at your location. And when they do it, it should be pretty straightforward and quick and easy. It's more of a methodical check of the equipment than it is actually going to be a real intensive deep clean every single year. Probably actually the blades are going to be the ones that take the most time.
I would have thought so.
The long running costs of this should be a lot less than a diesel machine.
Definitely. It takes about 8 hours to recharge this battery according to the Stiga manual. It comes with a standard charger, but if you want to have a fast charger, you can actually buy that as an additional accessory. So you can probably speed up that 8 hours to something far less than that.
I think that I know that when Charlie's dropped it off, one of the things I asked was, you know, so can we just, if you had an electric car at home and you had an electric charging port, can you just plug this into the same port? No, you can't. This is just a normal standard plug in your home charging port. So, you know, you're not having to have, it's not the same as an electric car charging port, which makes it more accessible to more people, to be able to purchase, you know, something like this and put it into their homes. You can just plug it in and charge it. We've got a lot of sun and cloud happening today, so we're going to have to keep moving into, I think, shady spots, because otherwise we can't see the camera and we're going to get blinded. So what were we saying?
I was just going to say that the other thing to note is that there's no brake pedal on this. It's got what they call a hydrostatic transmission, which basically means that as soon as you take your foot off the accelerator, whether that's going forward or in reverse, it automatically jams brakes. That's very good. The one consideration that you just need to keep in mind is that if you've got a gradient like we do and you're going downhill, obviously your foot's on the pedal, so it's putting you forward. If you do want to stop, it's the momentum just pushing you forward, so it's often a little bit difficult to get your foot off the pedal.
Yeah.
So it is just something just to make sure that you get a good feel for it before you start going up and down the steep gradients.
If you're going to be buying a machine like this, I would highly recommend you go out and test drive it and see what it's like. I mean, I know that there's going to be people all over the country, potentially all over the world that are watching this, but for us, you know, that it's Charlie's stores that have lent us this machine, and for them, you know, they actually have a location and a site where you can actually go, and they actually have ground that you can actually try this out on grass and actually drive it, so you can try and get to a feel for the stop start, the acceleration. It's a Speedy Gonzales. It's quite fast. I didn't expect it to be that fast. It's you don't expect it, especially with battery. You know, I thought that it was going to be a bit slower, a bit sluggish. It is not slow or sluggish. We have test driven some diesel petrol machines in the past, ride-ons, and this is just as speedy as any of those that we've driven. I cannot tell any difference in speed. It doesn't feel like it's slower. It doesn't feel like it wants to go slower. It feels like you put your foot on the accelerator and it's ready to move. So don't be kind of fooled by the fact that it's battery operated.
According to the Stiga manual, this has a top speed of 9 kilometers an hour, which is pretty quick. It's almost like a good running pace or a jog for a human. I mean, you're moving at that pace. Yeah. It's a reasonable speed, and you know, obviously when you're sitting a bit elevated and going on the downhill, you certainly do feel like you're moving.
Yeah, I felt like I was moving downhill. I was like, wow. For me, I would really like them to add in the armchair, just to stop you from sliding out of your seat and to give you that extra support and safety. And I would really like to see a seatbelt option added to this as well.
Especially when you've got bumpy terrain like we did, you kind of bump around, and it is quite easy to slide off the chair. Yeah,
it's a very, very slick leather seat, and there's not much, it's not really rough, it's very, very smooth and slick. So, you know, even just sitting on there in jeans or anything, your bum just wants to kind of slide out of it.
And on that point, I actually experimented and played around with the emergency stop. It works fantastically well. So basically, as you're going and you feel that anything, not that I was out of control, but I just wanted to experiment, you hit it, it cuts the blade out instantly, it cuts the engine instantly, and it turns off the little ready button. So basically, even if you've now hit the emergency and your foot's still on the accelerator, it's not going anywhere, because it's just reset and restarted and stopped the machine altogether, which is a fantastic feature.
You can't reverse with the blade on unless you've got your finger on the button. I mean, I didn't feel like we had the need to cut and reverse at the same time. I did try it out just to see if it was working, and everything was great. It was, but I did feel like it was it feels like a safe machine. It feels like it's well built, bulky, strong.
And it's sturdy. You know, I went on quite a lot of very bumpy areas. I actually went around the pond earlier today, which is quite a narrow area, and it's very bumpy. I went slowly, and at all machines you could feel the actual axle compensating and moving with me as I went up the terrain. It felt very sturdy, very secure. The only thing, you know, you did slide a little bit in your seats, which is why I think the seat belt is something that could just keep you in place, would not go amiss.
For me, I know you said that the battery was the standout feature for you. For me, it was the silence. I couldn't believe how ridiculously quiet it was, to the point where when you turn the ignition on and you're waiting. I'm waiting for an engine noise. I'm waiting for something. I'm waiting for like a fan or something to kick in. And then I thought maybe is it on or is it not on? And then I pushed my foot on the pedal and I started moving forward. I was like, oh my god, it's actually on. There is no sound. You turn the ignition on. Yes, it lights up the dash, which is great. So it does tell you that there has been something that's happened and the machine is coming on. But after you've pressed the on button, that's it. It's just silence. And then you move, you can go forward, you can go back. It's predominantly the sound of the wheels turning or the gravel that you're on, or the environment. It's not the machine. It is so deadly quiet.
You do get noise when you activate the blades.
When you start the blades,
that obviously is quite, I wouldn't say noisy, but it is loud. It's 100 decibels. That's what the published literature says.
I feel like we've used other equipment in the past where you really do want to be using your earmuffs, the protective ear. equipment, but I didn't feel like that with this. I never had any buzzing or anything in my ears afterwards. It was very comfortable, but it obviously there is a lot of noise when it comes from the blades, but that's to be expected. I would expect that.
Oh, definitely. But then you don't have the additional noise of an engine that's actually turning.
And the smell.
That is, for me, probably the second biggest thing is just the lack of diesel smell. Both when you're actually out here with the fumes and when you're actually storing it in a garage.
And you were saying, you know, if you do have multiple pieces of equipment in your garage, you know, you have got your chainsaw and your, you know, strimmer and your this, that, and the other, and all of those items combined, if they're all on diesel, the combined stink and stench inside your barn or your garage, it's really going to be quite horrible
and noticeable.
For us, we just don't have that at all. It's just so nice to use a machine like this where you just don't. It's clean. It feels clean. It you know, it literally is a clean experience.
And it is clean.
Yeah, and it is clean.
So that kind of segues me into the app. So you can download an app for your specific ride-on mower. It's the Stiga Go app. And basically what's really cool about that is it actually calculates your runtime.
Yeah.
And on the basis of that, it tells you how much CO2 you haven't released into the atmosphere that you would have if you were using a petrol driven ride-on mower.
And it gives you almost like a dash thing, so it can tell you the speed that you're going at and all sorts of other stats. Also for me, when we were talking to Charlie's Stores and they mentioned the app, and I said, oh, has it got a GPS tracker? Can, you know, if this gets stolen, and you know, it's a lot of money. I mean, the ride-on mowers are not a cheap piece of kit. You know,
it's expensive. It's spending a lot of money on these things.
Yeah, it's thousands of pounds, and it was really nice that Charlie said, well, listen, if that's the, you know, if anything like that happens, you know, you must contact us and contact Stiga and tell them that, you know, the machine has been stolen. Eventually, you know, that machine, you would expect it to be resold, or it would, you know, it'll end up in somebody's hands, and they'll eventually take it in for a service. You know, something's gonna, you know, either need repairing, or you know, at some stage it's going to need to go in for a servicing. And once it gets to a Stiga dealer, they will actually, it'll log on the system that this was actually a theft or a stolen vehicle, or a piece of machinery.
Which is why it's super important that if you do get one and you do get the app, that you register it immediately. Because what I did is that I downloaded the app and I tried to sync the app with this, and the moment I did that, it said this machine is already registered with somebody else, so you can't register it. So that already shows that there's a level of protection there that you can't start utilizing it. And then at some point you are going to have to either get it serviced or something done to it. And that's at that point that hopefully it'll send the red flags out with the distributors to say, listen, this is a stolen machine. I found the maneuverability of this actual ride-on mower really good. It took a little bit of getting used to just going up and down the hill, but as you start to have to weave in between trees,
slalom. Mars loved slaloming.
Quite literally slaloming.
Yeah, he loved it.
It really is great because you can get quite close to the trees, and it's amazing how if you stop and just turn the wheels to the maximum, you can get around some really tight spaces. So you know, there's obviously a lot of thoughts with regards to that, because you will want to get through tight spaces. So I thought it did that fantastically well. One of the questions that I had is that what happens if you're down at the bottom of the field and you're mowing away and all of a sudden the battery dies?
One bar.
What do you have to do? I mean, do you then have to run an extension cord down there? We've said that this has got a hydrostatic transmission, which means, I mean, there's no parking brake here. I cannot push this.
Yeah.
So I read today that one of the features that Stiga have added to this is the fact that as soon as your battery starts to approach empty, it cuts your blades out, and it says it gives you enough battery to get back.
Wow,
so that's a really nice feature, because
so if you're on one bar and your blades stop working, you know it's actually the machine saying to you, okay, you're nearly out of juice. Enough. You need to get back and recharge me. That's very clever.
That's very cool.
Yeah. So you're getting a whopper of a collection bag. You're getting a mulching kit. You're getting a really nice turning circle, you're getting the battery, you're getting reduced maintenance fees on an annual basis, you're getting the silence if you're not using the blades.
You're not getting any fumes.
You're not getting fumes, you're getting a really nice cut.
Yeah. It's
handling some pretty serious gradients
totally.
As far as I'm concerned.
Yeah.
It's zippy. And it's got cruise control, it's got the app that comes with it.
Yeah.
That's quite an awful lot. So would you buy it if you were in the market for it, and would you recommend it?
Fortunately, we're not in the market for actually buying one of these, which means we don't have to spend £4,000, which is what it's selling for at Charlie's. But I do think that if you've got a paddock, if you've got an open field with maybe big established trees, so it's easy to get around those,
or a nice big expansive lawn,
I think that that will save you a huge amount of time,
and it's fun. It's really fun.
Yeah.
I mean, you can't get over that. You do want to get on it and drive it all the time. You do want to just play with it.
Yeah.
It is, it is doing a function, and it is, obviously you're investing in a piece of machinery for the purpose of doing, that job and making your time more efficient and freeing you up to be able to do other things, freeing your energy up to be able to do other things, and giving you, nice precision cuts and all those other benefits. But there is the upside that it is just really, really fun, and it actually makes doing what would typically be a bit of an arduous, a tiresome task more interesting, more entertaining.
That's true.
And you kind of do want to kind of do it.
Yeah.
I can see a couple kind of getting it, and saying, "Oh, I'll do it today.
I'll do it.
I'll cut the grass today." I can definitely see that.
That's true. So I recommend it. Do you?
Yeah, I would definitely recommend it. I think that it's a really, really serious piece of kit. I think that it is definitely worth. It is on the higher price point level. I mean, obviously, there are cheaper diesel products out there.
Yeah.
But this piece of machinery, and the fact that it gives you so many upsides.
Yeah.
There is so many positive points with it. That I think that if I was in the market to look for a ride-on mower, I would be really hard pushed to discount this. I do think it needs a trailer hitch. I think that would be really beneficial. I can totally understand why they haven't done that now. Obviously, as soon as you add the trailer hook, you're then adding a trailer, then you're adding the weight into the trailer of whatever you're carrying. So obviously then that is having an effect on your battery. I just think there's so many upsides to it.
Yeah.
I think that, the fact that it doesn't smell, and the fact that it's so zippy and it's silent, those kind of things for me.
And the running costs are so cheap.
Yeah.
And for those of us that are environmentally conscious, I mean, this ticks just about
so
every single
many
box.
Boxes. Yeah, so many boxes. It really does, and it makes me feel far more comfortable with buying a piece of machinery like this. In the fact that it does, tick those boxes for me.
We're heartened to finally see a well-powered, fantastic battery life, a ride-on mower. 4,000 square meters, which is what it's supposed to cover, is a lot of ground on one battery charge.
Yeah.
That's going to be tough to beat.
And a huge thank you to Charlie's Doors for reaching out to us, offering us to, loan us something to review. And I'm really glad they did. It was really fun. I really enjoyed it.
I was grateful that they came out, they demonstrated all the key features to us. They installed the mulching kit for us.
Yeah, their customer service was great.
Just made sure that everything was taken care of. And that's kind of what you want when you are buying an expensive piece of equipment. It's one thing buying it from somebody like Charlie's.
Or just online where you
I was just going to say that.
Yeah, you just order something online and
it arrives in a box.
Yeah.
And then you kind of left to your own devices.
That is exactly the kind of service and the support that you need when you're buying an expensive piece of kit for your property.
Definitely.
So if you enjoyed this video, please subscribe and ring the bell. It's definitely worth subscribing because we do have quite a lot of power tool reviews coming up.
All battery operated.
Yeah.
There's chainsaws, there's trimmers, there's all kinds of stuff that we've got in the pipeline.
Cool.
It's really exciting.
Nice.
So yeah, definitely, as you said, please subscribe. Thanks very much for watching this video, and we'll see you soon.
Take care. Bye-bye.